The biggest driver of, from the weather anyway, for a wildfire is the wind. It helps bend the flames over and push them closer to the ground and to the fuel, so it heats them up and gets them ready to burn that much quicker. A wind-driven fire, when you have strong winds, the plume basically will usually stay very close to the ground. It takes a long time for it to get elevated up, and you'll have a lot of smoke down low. If you have light winds and it's just very hot and dry and you've got a lot of dense heavy fuel, you'll just send a plume almost straight up or maybe off at an angle. And if it's unstable, and what I mean by unstable is similar kind of conditions that might give you a thunderstorm, then the plume will go directly up. And if there's enough moisture to work with in the atmosphere, they can actually trigger thunderstorms sometimes. Relative humidity is the amount of moisture that's in the air compared to how much it could possibly hold before it would start making fog and clouds. So the lower the relative humidity, the less moisture there is in the air, the drier everything gets and the more readily it burns. Moisture takes a lot of energy out of the fire. So if you get a lot of rain in a little bit of time and it just runs off, it's not as effective as a little bit of rain spread out over a long time. Something as simple as the cloud cover can have a really big impact on the fire. For instance, if the clouds come in and you lose direct sunlight, it's kind of like your car sitting in the sun. If your car is sitting in the direct sun under a clear sky, then it heats up really fast and it gets really hot. But if it's cloudy, it doesn't get as hot. The same thing happens to the fuels in the ground and the sticks in the wood. So if the cloud cover comes in, it can really help cool down the fuel on the ground and make that less likely to burn or not burn as intense. PIGST is a sort of an acronym, or I guess a little bit of slang for the probability of ignition, and that's calculated based off of the cloud cover and the relative humidity and the temperature, and that just is the probability of ignition if you have a hot ember land on the ground in what they would call a receptive fuel bed, meaning it's ready to ignite. What's the probability that will actually ignite? So when it gets hot, dry, and sunny, then the probability of ignition goes up and you have more likely fire spread through spotting.